I am so glad that you're here so we can learn and grow together. No matter where you are in your journey of life and what your goals, ambitions, and dreams may be, deep down in our core, we all share a beautiful common aspiration, and that is to be happy and live a wonderful life. Just like you, I've had my share of experiences with life, and I am ecstatic to share this amazing journey with you as it continues to unfold. Through years of studies and self-discovery, and with the guidance of incredible mentors, coaches, and teachers along the way, I have been fortunate to find my light and see the path to joy, peace, and happiness. And I want to help you find yours. My ultimate desire is to uplift your spirit, bring consciousness to your thoughts, and remind you that you are an outstanding, uniquely powerful, and eternal spiritual being that is here for this amazing physical experience that we call life. Guiding you through this to unleash your power within and elevating the collective consciousness and happiness of those who I come in contact with has become my true obsession in life. So let's begin this journey together and know that it is my absolute pleasure to get to know you, cheer you on, and be your personal Lucifer and light bringer to illuminate the path and be your champion to find your own light along the way. I want you to think of limitless possibilities and manifest the journey ahead and achieve anything and everything you have ever desired. If you are blessed to have found your light already, allow us to pour into each other and share your wisdom so collectively we shine brighter together and be a beacon of hope for others in need. With that said, let's begin and welcome aboard.
It was really an oracle that came to me. I thought it was a premonition. And halfway through my life, I was connecting the dots, looking backwards. And in the midst of that is when I realized it was an oracle. And even just the past couple of years, actually, is when I realized it was an oracle situation, like in The Matrix.
Hello everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Lucifer Feiska. I welcome you to Brainwash Creations. I am super excited about our today's guest. She is a dear friend of mine, aside from being beautiful on the outside, very beautiful and spiritual in the inside. And just to introduce you quickly, and if I leave anything out, please feel free to add in, my beautiful, lovely friend, Wendy Sinclair.
Hello.
Wendy has been a radio personality for the past 27 years. She is a certified hypnosist certified in the quantum healing techniques. In addition, very well versed in Psyche, which is a true obsession of mine. And in addition to that, Wendy she has her ministry license and to be able to officiate weddings, and she did her first one on her beautiful yacht here this year. Also, she's an author. She has had several articles that have been published in Awareness magazine here in Los Angeles, California, and also a recognized member of the National Association of Professional Women that had been recognized her for her achievements and her leadership and support for professional women. And wow, what a wrap. I am so excited that you're here. Thank you again for making the time.
My pleasure.
So, Wendy, I know that we have exchanged a lot of just brief conversations from here and there throughout the years that I've known you. We've never sat down like this to sit down and talk, and you allowing me into your world or vice versa. We haven't really connected in that level. Yes. I mean, I always knew that you were very spiritual, just never dug deep, and that's on me. So I really appreciate the opportunity that you're giving me this time to sit in front of you and ask you.
Thank you.
So tell me, how does your world work?
On vibration.
Okay.
High frequency.
High frequency.
High frequency, as much as possible.
And that brings me, because I mean that the whole theme of Brainwashed Creations and everything that I am also promoting and attempting to spread the word is that high frequencies, just being able to tap into that inner peace and calmness and manifestation power. So how did you get started on this journey? And just walk us through this. What happened to Wendy?
I'm getting excited just even thinking about it.
Yeah?
Very much so. Very much so.
Tell us your story.
So when I was 19, what I called as a premonition was really an oracle that came to me. thought was a premonition. And halfway through my life, I was connecting the dots, looking backwards. And in the midst of that is when I realized it was an oracle. And even just the past couple of years, actually, is when I realized it was an oracle situation, like in The Matrix. When Neo was brought to the oracle, she was in the kitchen. So that happened in 1999 was when that movie came out.
Right.
My situation happened in 1989. And I was standing in my living room vacuuming, and it was a new home for me, right out of college, new relationship, new job. Home was mine, like outside of a parent. So we were renting, but still, it was my carpet I was vacuuming. It was my home I was creating. And I felt all of this as I was doing that. I didn't know at the time what was going on, except that I got this massive download. And there was no TV on or anything. It was like an Aunt Jemima lady, and she was in the kitchen. She bent over an oven and whipped around and put this hot apple pie right under my nose. And her eyes were twinkling, and it was all telepathy. She says, "You see this apple pie?" She says, "This is what California is going to be like when you get there." And this warm honey sensation just came all over my body. And I was like, boom, she was gone.
Just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And I stood there and I'm like, there's no TV on, there's nobody around me, there's nothing going on.
Were you meditating? Were you doing anything?
I was vacuuming.
Wow.
And I was feeling gratitude.
So you were meditating.
See, a lot of that
You were being
time,
present.
I'm going to get a lot of chills
I love that.
through this whole situation, because this is such a beautiful topic for me, and these are very powerful, pivotal moments. So I was a little girl in Alabama, and I was like, California, are you kidding me? And I'm like, they're crazy out there. And I'm like, because everything would start in California and then move across the United States.
Right.
And I was very happy where I was. I created my own life, I was a good manifester before I realized I was a good manifester.
Aren't we all, though?
We can
and we
be.
lose it,
We
usually.
can be,
Yeah.
and then not realize it. So once we are aware of how to do it, hang on to that frequency.
The children get everything because they ask for it and the parents give it to them. So that's a form of manifestation if you think about it, for the most part, right?
Not every child gets that opportunity.
True.
Right?
That is very true.
So
if they're blessed, yeah,
I
for
learned
sure.
how to create my own in the midst of that. So I knew that was where I was supposed to be,
Right.
California. And at the age of 33, it happened. There was a fork in the road, and it was either going to be Florida or California, and I knew I was supposed to be out here. So it made it happen. And the oracle in Neo, just when COVID happened and all of this great awakening, which is really, truly what is going on the planet.
Yes.
With this split in vibration and these solar flares and all of this energy popping up, I said, I'm going to go watch The Matrix again. Let alone the fact that when it first came out, I went to the movie theater 7 times by myself and watched it fully.
Yes.
And then when I watched it this time, just after 2020, I realized the oracle that he had was the same one that I had, the same situation. She handed him a cookie. She bent over the oven, she made him wait, then she hands him a cookie and she says, everything's going to be okay.
Right.
And I froze when I saw that portion of the movie. When I saw it the first time, when it first came out, it was too close to the situation to actually pinpoint it. But in hindsight, connect the dots and realize what's going on. So that's just a piece.
You know, with the Matrix, it's funny that you mentioned that because are you familiar with Dr. Bruce Lipton?
Oh, yes.
So one of my favorite things when he actually passionately says Matrix is not a movie, it's a documentary.
Yes.
And before I even came to all this, I mean, when you see that and you're connected to that, you're like, this is sending you a message at some level if you're not getting it. And I'm not talking about exactly verbatim looking like that, you know, being plugged in, but in a sense you are, you know, and it's a beautiful piece of art that definitely puts it in perspective. For sure.
Very much so. So
you came here, you followed your instinct, your gut feeling, the oracle appeared to you. Then what next? I mean, what is because I'm still where you are right now with everything that you're accomplishing in the spiritual journey that you have been on, right? So that started you. What is the first step? Like, again, the reason I'm sharing this is because, or I'm asking actually this for you to share it, a lot of us get those signs, right? A lot of us could be sensing something, maybe not necessarily as vivid as you experienced, which is wonderful, but the gut feeling is there to do something more, to create a difference. And what are some of the steps that you took to build on that and open up that breakthrough?
So I went, this is before we had the internet.
Okay.
Basically, somewhat. The iPhone really is what made everything take off, and those we didn't have yet.
Yes.
I got here in '04.
Right.
Which is a lot of spiritual connections with a lot of people coming to California. There's a reason that people are placed on this planet right now for
Right.
things to unfold.
Right.
And I started diving to the library. I just picked up any book I could find because I had the time in the midst of transferring with my company. I didn't know the roadways out here in California yet.
Okay.
And they were pronounced much differently than I was used to. Like La Cañada is not La Canada. And he was like, come back and see me in 2 weeks. And I was like, oh. So I just dove into anything and everything spirituality. I was reading any kind of book I could get my hands on. Animal communication. I had an immediate connection when I was reading the book, connected with the animal that I just left back in Alabama. And it just brought tears to my eyes instantly because I saw her see me
Right.
reaching out to her. And I'm clairvoyant. I became clairvoyant in 2016. So,
Clairvoyant. Can you explain that? What that means?
you can see with your third eye. You see energy. You can see images, and not just your memory. It's things that are being, like Star Wars,
Right.
where you have the vortex and the stars coming at you. That's literally where it starts. That's the energy that we can see, and it's a portal.
Now, is it a skill that you acquired, or is that something that you always knew you had? Because we know the chakras, right? I mean, everybody obviously has it. So based on what you're saying, is that something that it could be also taught?
Every clair can be taught.
Okay.
There's 6 or 7 of them. It's been a while since I've been focused in that direction, but there's 6 or 7.
So this is good. It's brainwashing again, right? Getting all that clutter off, putting you back to that root. There you go.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I had always wanted to be able to see energy. Right. So that's the first thing that I guess really opened up to me that I was working on. So the way I found out about some more information and frequencies. Sorry, I'm hit the microphone.
No,
I'm
it's
Italian.
okay.
I talk with my hands.
That's the first time I've heard the Italian accent come out.
Oh my goodness.
Well, it's perfectly fine to talk with your hands. I'm a big talker with hands because, again, I'm a big believer of when you're actually talking passionately, we're made out of energy, right? So you're moving energy. You are actually, think about Tai Chi or any type of, if you've ever seen people like practice those, you're moving energy. So the more you carry it over, knock it away. We'll put it back up. They'll understand.
So I was watching a paranormal show, and they were discussing the energy in the stone of a castle that they wanted to be able to pull from. And they said they were isochronic tones. I'd never heard that. So immediately I pop up in the phone, start doing my research on it, and a whole new world opened up to me. There's isochronic tone for anything and everything, any part of the body that you want to work on. And it's a healing frequency.
Right.
So I started listening to those tones overnight. Oh my gosh, I could go into some major...
During your... right before you fall asleep in terms of... See, now I hit it. Right before you fall asleep to just self-hypnosis, you mean? Or cleanse?
So I started with the tones. That's what actually got me listening to things overnight.
Okay.
I don't think I was listening to hypnosis just yet.
Okay.
And this was around 2015 because that's what kicked in my clairvoyance. Because the relaxation. So I heard you discussing in one of your podcasts about that magic time. It's called the power hour, what I have heard.
Right.
30 minutes after you wake up, 30 minutes before you go to sleep.
Correct.
Make sure everything is in a positive energy in that field because it's setting the tone for your creation, for your manifestation during that sleep time.
Absolutely.
So that's what I was doing. And I was just going on what felt good, what I was being pulled in the right direction. I didn't have people telling me what to do. I just went, this is what I want to do. This is anything I can get my hands on to just dive in and just keep elevating. And this was actually after I was listening to The Secret for 2.5 years in my car. Started that in like 2008. And for 2.5 solid years, it was 4 CDs back then. Now they put it on 1.
Right.
So I would listen to the first. I went all through 4, and then I stayed on 1. And I drove from Anaheim, California to Culver City. Rush hour traffic. We're talking 2 hours. Easy. It was 1.5 minutes for me because I was like focused on what I was doing. No traffic bothered me. I was joyful.
That's such a good point because in LA, I mean, if you really find something that you're passionate about, could be a podcast, could be anything. That is so healthy, because to be able to do that, and you see people and just their vibrations off. I mean, you can see them reading their lips. They're just so angry and just like, yeah, that's wonderful to actually share that as a best practice. To find something you love and listen to it during traffic.
So no matter what it is, but the thing is with the subconscious, which has been my focus, and I hear it's now your focus.
Yes.
So that's a really good connection. It's a really good place for people to start.
Yes.
Because it's what's running our life versus what we think is running our life.
Yes.
It's that loop in the background. So, as Bob Proctor from The Secret would say, it's the repetition, and you're reprogramming the subconscious. Like we listen to music, and we know those songs, and you can pick them up in an instant. We're programming somebody else's thoughts. We need to reprogram our own thoughts.
Yes.
And this is what The Secret did for me. And I would go to bed at night with all of this beautiful language and manifestation in my energy field.
Right.
And I watched everything like crumble and rebuild. Everything. I had financial things coming to me. I had my beautiful husband come to me. He wouldn't let me go. I was like,
this beautiful yacht that you have opened to us to sit here and actually record, you know, with everybody moving furniture and everything, getting ready for our beautiful party that we have coming up. So this is fantastic.
So for a spiritual podcast, I wouldn't exactly explain to wear something a little more revealing, but we're doing 4th of July.
Hey, you know, it's I think it's very fitting with the
and I had a jacket
4th of July,
on, mind you, but I was a little too warm.
Red, white, and blue. See, we're already we're good to go. So with the as you mentioned, I mean, with also Dr. Bruce Lipton, obviously you're very familiar with. So to your point, and something that you heard about the podcast that I was talking about that magical hour, that theta wave brain that we're in, that we can actually have reprogram the subconscious. Now, one thing is that twice a day could also be more, because if you think about it, how many more times during the night do you wake up and you just kind of shift over and you quickly go back to sleep? So if you have that going on a loop, even that too could be 3, 4. See, that's your trick, right?
That's what I do. And we're actually, when you daydream, people can be 90% of people can be hypnotized.
Right.
Everyone has to be in a state of hypnosis to fall asleep and to wake up, because that's that brainwave level. So you're in that state. They just don't realize it. And the people that are in their left brain, they are more analytical and they put more thought into the how of it instead of allowing it to occur.
Yes.
So there's people that just are a little harder to do it, but we're doing it from daydreaming. Anytime you've walked somewhere and you didn't know how you got there, or you got there a little faster, you're like, oh, I'm already here. That is what hypnosis is. So we're in it all the time, and we're having reprogramming. And when you have commercials playing in the background or songs in the background, and those commercials these days are all symptoms, your subconscious is picking all of that up.
Yes.
It's programmed for a reason.
Yes.
So we are unprogramming since what we've had since birth, and reprogramming.
Don't pick affirmations that had commercials in them. Then you wonder why you bought something that I could be bald buying shampoo for soft hair. Why did I do that? But no, that's a really good point, because nowadays everything has commercials. So if you even put that on, you got to be conscious of that. Yeah,
absolutely.
So in terms of your journey so far, so you have gone through the process of going through The Secret, learning it initiating it for you, right? A lot of us can most likely resonate with that, because that was such a beautiful piece of art that they made to, in layman's terms, explain it to everybody. And everybody's seen it. However, everybody that I know have seen it. However, it's kind of like becomes more like it's exciting for a week and then they forget it, because to your point, they don't practice it. They don't live it. And because we're operating on that 95% subconscious, that 5% that you're aware of it is not going to really pay that big of a impact to it. So it goes back to having to do that, which I want to ask you about this quantum healing hypnosis, because when I saw that, I'm like, ooh, I could do a whole hour on this. I'm like, and I know like we have about an hour and a half maybe or so to work with this. So can you just give us a little bit on what that is? How did you come about that, and how have you used it so far?
Oh my goodness. So even getting signed up for it and putting it on my power of intention was amazing. I'm like, I'm not kidding you. I was like, I've been opening and closing doors since I got to California.
Right.
Stepping into everything and just testing it out and going, okay, that's nice. Keep going. Keep going. And when I first did the Hypnosis Institute in Tarzana, it was around 2008 or so, it wasn't deep enough. I'm like, okay, I got it. I got my certification on that, but I wanted to go deeper, so I didn't stick with it. Lose weight and cigarette smoking and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I'm working with the soul. I'm working with soul and spirit energy. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep going. In the midst of my own, so I had a personal diagnosis. I don't know if I have been able to have the opportunity to share it with you.
Okay.
But in November of last year, so 8-9 months ago, I was diagnosed with, got the boats popping up for the 4th.
Hey.
So I was diagnosed with complex PTSD. Did I share this with you at all?
I don't believe we have ever discussed that. No.
So it's something that I'm actually, people hide it. I'm excited.
Right.
I'm very excited that I actually have the awareness now that that's what's going on. Over 70% of people are walking around undiagnosed.
Yes.
With PTSD.
100%. And
that's huge.
They it's like a lot of us have that. Absolutely. I agree.
So tap into that. That's where the healing needs to begin. And when I found that out, so I tackle things like a bull in a china shop. I don't pull any punches.
I love it.
And that's what I did when I found out in 2017. I was listening to Christy Marie Sheldon on her abundance blockages.
Right.
And when I found out that the memories that we remember as childhood, the emotion that's attached to them, that is what's running your subconscious. And when those memories were hitting me, I was furious. I was extremely, because I realized they weren't just memories. That was what was holding me back.
Right.
I was having this choking sensation and I couldn't move forward. And I'm like, what's this feeling in it's a chakra blockage.
Right.
Even though I do the voice work that I do, there was just this energy that was stuck. And I hired a psychiatrist and a psychologist immediately and just started diving into it and diving into more of what the brain does and more in-depth things because I knew what I wanted to do, but I had to do my own internal healing to be able to do it.
Absolutely. You got to heal yourself to be able to help others. 100%. And trust me, I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't healed because I've gone through some similar stuff, so I can completely understand and relate to. So, yes.
It allows us to be able to step into this, but we're an onion that keeps peeling. We're never done.
Yes.
When I found that out, I wasn't amused about that either. I just be honest with you. I'm like, you mean to tell me it's never going to be finished?
I'm just scratching the surface. Wow. Yeah.
So it's the journey.
So true.
But it's the journey. And I have noticed since November, and this has basically been March, April, we had some amazing energies come through in March. Around the 20th or the 23rd, there was this planet alignment with Pluto that hasn't happened in 100 to 200 years. And it was aligning everyone on the planet to reset for the next 20 to 30 years. And so everyone that I've spoken with has realized if they pinpoint the dates of certain things that were very pivotal, they were happening in that week of March.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
I had some, I'm
getting goosebumps thinking about it right there because I knew there was some big things also happening in my life then that made me truly realize what my passion is, and I just decided actually after some conversation and people that again were attracted with that energy to inspire me and say, dude, why aren't you starting a podcast with everything we're talking about? It feels really good, and then you're sharing some good stuff that you've gone through and you've been helping us. And I was like, yeah, why am I not? So you're right, it's right in that window actually.
When did you really?
Yeah, the thought came about the starting it then. I have been delving into life coaching and stress management after I came out of my own situations and applying everything that I know about just coaching and sales, marketing, everything throughout my career. So just applying it, and it's been really doing well with me, with friends, with some of the clients that I'm working with. So in general, it just turned into a passion to make that difference, and you feel it, right? It's not work. I had to learn how to do this whole podcast thing, and and that's why I was like, I need to talk to Wendy. I mean, you've been 27 years in the radio. I'm just figuring out how to cut and paste and just like the audio. It's just been so overwhelming, but it's been so fun. Like if it was, and that's where I know it's right, because I'm learning just like you. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much to learn. But at the same time, when I produce something that I'm like, okay, it's listenable at least for now. It's not perfect. I don't have a team yet to help me with it, right? But I definitely have a mission and a vision. And that vision is to be able to impact others at a mass scale, and be able to share, just like I know you do too, because the more you do, the better it feels, that collective consciousness and energy that we've been both getting goosebumps left and right, right?
When I heard you say collective consciousness, I'm like, this is Lucifer talking? I'm like, I've always talked to your wife about this stuff. I'm like, well, it makes sense.
Yeah, Andy's very aligned, thankfully. I mean, she's been amazing, and she's been a great part of me getting here too. And we've worked together, and it's just like anything else. Sometimes one person pulls the other one when you're down in the gutter. Sometimes the other person does. And
reach out a hand.
Right. And once that community is built, it just becomes better and better and better, and magic happens, right?
Yes. Oh, I love it when the magic happens.
So far you have gone through the process of the hypnosis, but in terms of the actual process of it, like, do you have to do the pin drill? I want to try it actually, right? Because I do self hypnosis sometimes through some of the psych kinesiology, psych kit, and that's another again.
I did.
We need to do this more often because there's so many different topics that I like to cover with you, and I want to do it justice by going into it, talking about the background of it, talking about the pioneers in it, right?
Yes. Yes.
And because a lot of this information, it's easy to get drown into it quickly, and you and I pick up and jump from one branch to the other.
So I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
So people that are listening to this, and when we cover it, because there's a lot that has been on my journey that has elevated me. But if somebody is specifically interested in what we're saying, let them put a comment.
I would love that.
And then we will take off on what they're interested in, and just full steam.
Do more, so we'll touch base on some of these topics, and then we'll explore them more. Yeah, that sounds good.
The one thing I want to mention is the March energies that you were able to feel right off the bat, and that I had noticed. I did the research. I start connecting the dots going backwards. That's what Steve Jobs said.
Connect the dots going
right?
backwards.
He said connect them and use them. They're there for you. It's a tool. It's a very big tool. Sarah Hall, she is on YouTube, and in March she has a meditation that was in that time frame that connects all of those dots, and I just went, oh my gosh. So if they can find that, that's one tool that they can connect with regarding that specific energy in March.
Okay.
I'll lead into some different
Sarah Hall.
Sarah Hall.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Would you share that with me too, just if you remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now,
QHHT.
Let's see. So QHHT.
Quantum healing hypnosis.
Yes,
technique.
quantum healing. So continue with that, so we can go back to. I know there's so many exciting different topics. I'm having a hard time keeping on the same topic with you because I'm excited to learn more about it too. Also, obviously, I know you've been down this path a few, probably more years even than I have in terms of some of your experiences. So definitely learning from you.
Oh well, it's all a big learning curve. The QHHT, this was around March 23rd as well. My new shift started. I had had the same shift for 10 years, so this was my shift was happening, allowing my schedule to now open up to where I can actually do the QHHT during the day. So I was 12 to 7 for 10 years, and now I'm 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. So my shift changed. And in the midst of that, I got up in the morning, and I was actually, as I said, I'm just going to put the secret on. I haven't used that as my own personal tool in a while. And see, there's a lot of, this is important for people to know how to pick up on the knowledge and the knowing, or the tools when they're coming to you. I listened. I have a lot of quiet time to myself, and I listen to what's coming. And it's a meditative form.
Yes.
Instead of just allowing other things to come in. So that's what I do on a regular basis. If I have a question, I don't let it go. I dive into it. I keep asking the question, because then that's in your energy field, and those answers come to you. So don't just let it go. Keep asking the question. So With my PTSD, became complex. And complex is when it's childhood trauma.
Right.
So our brain is wired differently as a child, more on fight and flight.
Mm-hmm.
An alcoholic father, and that had a lot to do with mine. Well, even though I knew I didn't know it was connected to that. But in the midst of finding out, your awareness of whatever your situation is the key.
Right.
And acknowledging it, because then you can get past it. If we don't know what it is, we can't get there. In the midst of finding that out, COVID, there were psychologists and psychiatrists that needed help.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a 10-month wait to be able to get mental help in this country. And
that's just crazy. Yeah.
But they're not telling you this on a regular basis. You're just behind the scenes. I was figuring out what's going on. And I got a medical accommodation to continue to work from home, because there was some connections to my office that I had a massive panic attack trying to get into the office. And I was like, okay, this is a train wreck. I was like, I have to figure out what's going on here. And that's when a lot of awareness happened. So in the midst of me trying to find a professional, I needed a paper trail to be able to keep the medical accommodation from home. I went to Dolores Cannon's website. I'd been listening to her videos.
Okay.
3 or 4 years ago, I didn't know that the deep healing that actually happens during the hypnosis is what is occurring. The mental part, I was aware of, but the actual physical healing of bones cracking, tumors disappearing, cancer disappearing, the physical part of it, that's what Dr. Joe Dispenza does.
Right.
I did not know.
Big fan of his work. Yes.
So, and I'm a big fan of putting the science behind what is going on.
Yes.
And luckily science has caught up and is continuing to bring everything to the forefront to be able to back up what we're doing, what we're talking about, and all of the quantum physics, metaphysics side of it. So I went to her website, found a practitioner who I had seen the same one online about 3 or 4 years ago. But the thing was, I didn't think I needed it back then. I just something I wanted to experience, and it was about $600 for a session. And I'm like, that's pretty expensive for a session.
Right.
Well, here I am 3 or 4 years later. He's still the number one, and it's still a 6-month wait. And I'm like, what is going on here? I'm like, I need somebody now. So I did that information, and I did.
Give me patience and give it to me now. Manifest that.
I'm like, yeah, bullet time. I'm just like tearing down, like, how do I do this? So I just kept asking those questions, and I just keep getting the research and just taking the time on it. And it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was that 30 minutes as we wake up, I put The Secret on. And I heard the portion again, which was Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Right.
His name is escaping me at the moment. But his story is really awesome on how he created his book. If you haven't heard it,
I have not. Okay.
It's very good.
Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Chicken Soup for the Soul, and it was this was his $100,000 idea. So, this is funny. This is like, and I heard somebody else talking others like, well, wasn't it the girl you think you were in the podcast? She's like, this idea came to her while she's in the bathroom. Well, it's in the shower or just like your meditative state, and a lot of people have quiet time in the shower or in the restroom where nobody's bothering them, and all of a sudden, when he says this is his $100,000 idea, I said out loud, 4:30 in the morning, where's my $100,000 idea? And I got this massive download. And I went, oh my God.
Wow.
I pulled out the calculator right then and there and said, if I only work half of the time, 365 days a year, at the $700 per session, it's $124,000 a year. And I'm like, this is what I need to do. Because this is, when I went back and researched everything, all of the healing, all of the deep portion of it, and I was having major headaches trying to develop my own website because of the healing that I had not done, that I didn't know. So it was blocking me. I started having massive headaches to where this was a joy for you. I knew that was supposed to be a joy for me, but it was not. And I was getting debilitating. So to find out that I could actually be a practitioner, and she built the website and the people come to her, I had this beautiful umbrella unfolding in front of me that was going to allow me to do my purpose and my passion.
Right.
Just sitting there waiting on me to find it.
And there it is.
And I was like, instead of me paying $700 to go and wait 6 months
yeah, no kidding.
for something that I really needed for my own situation, I started doing the course. And I was level 1 within 3 weeks. I was, yes, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I'd already researched so much of what she did, and I was already very familiar with it, that I could just kind of breeze through and just get the techniques down.
Yes.
I went to the conference, and I'm now working on level 2.
Nice.
And just so I can let you know what's going on with level 1, we're an intern with the first 25 clients, which means we do free sessions.
Right.
And I've only done about 8, but I've had some phenomenal results.
Very cool.
So if you would like,
we're definitely gonna do one. Yes.
I would love, as it would be my honor to be able to do a session on you while I'm still able to do these 3 before we.
Is this something we want to do now, or is that something you want to do at a later time? I don't know.
5 hours.
5 hours. Okay, we can't do it now.
5 hours. You do it. It's one
Right.
time. It's a one-time deal.
Gotcha.
You don't need to keep coming back.
Very cool. No, I'm definitely interested in experiencing that, because again, everything that I've done myself, as far as Psyche for myself and others, I know how it works. This is something new to me, and I haven't experienced yet. So I'm like, like a little kid in the candy store. I'm like, yes, show me. Let's do this for sure. Yeah, let's. I would definitely love to be.
Okay.
What am I? Your number 9?
It would be. I have been so busy,
Right.
and I haven't even been able to record what
Okay.
I have done. So yeah, I'm getting close.
No,
to,
sign me up. We'll definitely do it.
And anybody in your audience who wants a session that's local, because
Okay.
it has to be done one-on-one,
Right.
and in person. So you really have to be able to keep an eye on the person and make sure that you just cuddle everything and
Yes.
take care of everybody, in the process of that.
Absolutely, and you can reach out to me. I'll put you in contact with her, or how would they find you directly?
You go to the website, which I would have to pull up.
Go
which
ahead.
I can do it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
QHHT.com. Let's just say that. If you look up QHHT, it will bring up Dolores Cannon, and it will give you on the website, it'll say find a practitioner. You put your zip code in, and you can go from, I guess, look for level 1 or intern, and as an intern, my name will pop up.
Very cool.
If I had some fantastic. The last session I had was impeccable.
So for the next, I guess, until you get to 25, they're getting a free session with you. So
absolutely.
yeah. I mean, aside from getting a free session, I'm hanging out with you for 5 hours. I mean, sign me up. So,
Have you laid on the bed all nice and comfortable?
right,
taking
work
care
on my
of you?
psyche and everything. Great, yeah, fantastic.
It's phenomenal.
No, that's great. That is definitely something that I would like to do.
Excellent.
Now, in terms of every time I see you, you look fantastic. You look better.
Thank you.
Obviously, I do know that you believe in epigenetics and how the telomeres extend and expands your life, obviously. So what is your routine like on a daily basis to maintain that level of joy and happiness, so the good hormones are produced to be able to extend the life versus the stress hormones and the other stuff that we know how it would cause the opposite? So
awareness. I journal. I make lists for myself, and I make sure that I stay on point. I don't always. Now, with that being said, it doesn't always happen, but at least it's at the forefront of my intention. So intention is the key. I may miss my vitamins when I go on vacation, but I will double up, and I will drink my extra water, and I will get them in. I really stay. There's several things. There's a lot of tools for that.
Yes.
We don't use on the regular basis that we really should. And a big, powerful one that I've got a lot more information on, by the way, is the energy and the information that is transferred with water.
Okay.
Okay, because it's the science. I have the science to back it up, by the way, and I found it through a patient that was doing hypnosis, and I can send them the information now. Actually, VedaAustin.com, VEDA Austin.com. She is a scientist who works with water, and the information that is transferred, phenomenal.
Wow.
Phenomenal. Images will appear regarding what is around. When you freeze it, she flash freezes it. And so when we're doing our affirmations and we're 70+% water, we need to be using that tool. And when I have done
that makes sense.
Okay, in November.
That makes 100% sense. See, I didn't connect that whole, the water thing. See, I'm a big believer of everything has its own energy, water, fire, earth, all the elements, right? And when you said the water and then you connected it to the 75% water, right?
Yes.
I mean, that just makes 100% sense. I'm like, That's another one that I'm really intrigued to learn now about.
Veda Austin.
Veda Austin.
Oh, and it's the intelligence of water. And the funny thing, so these synchronicities and they're not coincidences. They happen for a reason. And this one I could just kind of laugh at. One of her first interviews that I listened to of her, she was being interviewed by someone named Stuart.
Right.
And the woman that she had imprinted in the flash freezing was her best friend named Wendy. Well, Stuart's my husband. And I was just like, as I'm listening all of this, and she's talking about water, and we live on the ocean, literally on a ship. And it was like, my connection to water is just so incredibly powerful. Anyway, I'm like, Wendy, this is right up your alley. You're hearing it. It's
right.
Like you got both names.
That makes sense.
So those kind of things people don't need to dismiss. That's important. It's very important. And I'm going to share something else with you because I know we're going to get close on time.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Show you
for
this.
sure.
So I document everything that I can, just because I don't like to be called a quack or anything
Makes sense.
or woo-woo. So I began documenting a long time ago, and in the midst of watching The Matrix 7 times, so that's a number that has continued to pop up. I'm going to go all the way back to my favorites here. I didn't know I had that many favorites. There it is. In the midst of listening to a person under hypnosis, when she came out, she mentions the water, and she mentions that this is the year of the 7. And I didn't know what she meant by that, but I had recently had the 7s brought back into my forefront. It right up as my power of intention. This way, when she said it, I heard it, and there was no mistaking that. That's a bigger. Let me just get to this. So I want you to look at this.
Wow, that's a lot of 7s.
Look at the date.
July 7, 2017. Wow. Yeah.
And that's what month?
And that's area code 7s all the way around and numbers all the way around 7.
So this number called me at that time, that date.
You're kidding me.
No.
Wow.
This is my screenshot. July 7th of 2017.
And who was it?
It was a mistake number. I let it go to voicemail. I couldn't even answer it. I just screenshotted it.
That's crazy. Yeah, wow.
I had a lot of amazing things going on, and I documented everything at this time because this is when my clairvoyance had kicked in a year before, and it was just massive. I couldn't keep up with the journaling. But this was the universe talking.
Did you look up the meaning of number 7? I'm sure you did.
Lord have mercy. I know the 5s are definite changes coming. I really should remember the 7s, but I get such an energy vibe just by seeing them.
Yes.
And knowing that it's meant for me to just keep going forward. I'll look it up.
Right.
But this is the year of 7.
Yes.
This is the year of completion, she says.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured out, okay, how did she figure out it was 7? Well, you got 20, 23, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 3 is 7. I'm like, well, that was easy enough, but I've never been told to add them up before.
Right.
But in the midst of the 7 in the year of completion, and then finding my ultimate purpose and passion and this beautiful umbrella, it makes sense. And you have done the same thing, and so many other people.
And that's why, see, that the like energies attracted to each other. And the beauty of it is it's created. Everyone can have that type of energy, can have this type of vibe and energy.
Yes.
It's just a different, we're like a radio, right? You just change it to a different frequency. If you have a static, if you don't like it, you change the channel to something that is suitable and pleasant to you. And
So
it's very easily done.
The breath.
The breath, the mindset.
The breath, though, will, if there's something going on, stop and take 3 nice deep breaths from the gut. And just because that's the alignment.
100%.
God, he breath. He breathed onto the life into everything. Oh, how do they say breathe, breath, the English? But that's the magic, and we have that magic. And without the breath, we don't exist.
100%. Yeah, our first sign of life is that breath when you're stepping into the world.
That's
so
right. It's a powerful tool.
So let me ask you this. I know, again, for the sake of time, but we can wrap it up shortly. But I do want to ask you a couple of questions. When I first reached out to you and you saw the name Brainwashed Creations and then you watched an episode, what was your experience like? What did you make of the Brainwashed Creations when you saw that? What went through your mind? It was like, what is going on with Lucifer and what is he doing?
I loved what I was hearing. I loved the music that you chose. I loved the intro that you did. I loved the words you were using, because it was like fireworks were going off in my head. I'm like, this is Lucifer.
Oh my God, that's such a compliment. Seriously, that is such a nice compliment.
Well, it's honestly
coming from you. I mean, I'm like, wow, that's because I've always just loved your energy and just looked up to be able to have that piece of you ever since I've known you. It just took me a couple of years longer after I've known you to get there. So
there's been a lot of chaos.
Yes, it has been. It has been.
No, thank you for that.
And the name, did it mean anything to you when you saw it? Because I know it's kind of controversial. Some people were like, why did you choose that as far as Brainwashed Creations?
I'm contemplating Brainwashed Creations. Because we have been brainwashed.
Yes.
We're making, and if we're recreating our brain and reprogramming our brain, but we have all been brainwashed on so many different levels.
And the other part of it is, this time, brainwashing it intentionally. You're washing it and cleansing it, right?
Okay.
Because that's another part that I want to play with words. In a term that a lot of times it's the meaning that we give it. Quickly people are like, oh, it's brainwashing, it's not a good thing. But also brainwashing could be a good thing. You are reprogramming everything else that has been downloaded to you without even knowing. So that quickly puts a bigger smile on your face.
You know what I was thinking ultimately? I was thinking mind-bending creations.
That's a good one too. I like that.
You can have it.
Thanks. So I would like to close with a couple of more questions for you, if it's possible.
Absolutely.
What are the 3 things that you're grateful for and why?
I'm grateful to be aware. To be aware that I'm not from here. That I know why I came to this planet, and I now know that there's no mistaking why I'm here because of me going through the hypnosis. The knowing that you get it keeps you from doubting yourself. It gives you a sense of relief, and nothing can take that away from you.
I love that. That's 1. What's 2?
I love the amazing, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for my group of friends, my spiritual tribe.
And you have an amazing group of friends.
I just love them. So
I'm proud to be in that group.
Oh, you were right there. I remember the day that I met you and your wife.
Yes.
Absolutely. And it was like, how did we not meet each other before now at that point? Because we were in the same circle.
Yes.
But yeah, and it's been a beautiful journey.
And obviously it's uplifting, so I already know the why for that one. Yes.
Yeah.
And what's the 3rd one?
One more. I'm excited to be here during this time on this planet, because I now know what I was put here for. And these revelations have just happened really, really recently. So I'm grateful to be able to stay focused as things can kind of crumble in different directions, because let's just say I'm aware that people have created their own reality. And we can have a karmic issue if we step into other people's energy field and try to awaken them, change them, think it's our responsibility, because it's not our responsibility. And that is huge. That's a spiritual law that I was not aware of till a couple of years ago. I'm like, if I had known this a long time ago, it would have saved me a lot of headache, because your heart, and my website I'm working on is the Heart Goddess. And that heart energy works, and I tap into the interview when I'm with the clients really well with the heart. And that's what's opening up a lot of the healing already on that.
I couldn't agree with you more. And honestly, what draws me to all of this is I'm attracted to those people that are struggling, and I can see their pain, and through quick conversations. However, when that energy is spent, my circle, my friends, like you, like Andy, like other friends that I have that I interact with, my family that are very on their own spiritual journey, interaction just recharges me. I'm ready for round 2. And that has become it's a really cool full circle for me now, that when I go that way, Andy rolls her eyes, just like, oh God, here we go.
That's what my husband does.
Right? But it's just, once you are able to impact that person in a positive way, it's so uplifting in its own. And then when you come back to your inner, I guess, mothership to recharge, it is such a really good feeling. And that goes with the whole meditation, a lot of self maintenance, I guess, recharging of yourself. So if you were to name a couple of things, I want to just ask you one more last question, I promise. What is the one thing that you must do moving forward and you're focused on? And what is the one thing that you must stop, if you were to?
That's a secret.
No, we didn't have secrets.
Says who?
Okay.
The one thing that I must do is love myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes in many different forms, because all of us at the root of what is going on is worthiness.
Mm-hmm.
Brene Brown, she said that, and I'm like, worthiness? I've never thought about that personally, but these other words that we feel and relate to, and they enter, because it's our own healing, it's all connected to worthiness.
Mm-hmm.
And when we realize that, it gives us another avenue to open up and be able to heal. Like, my words were disappointment and embarrassment. And so with disappointment, I wasn't able to build my website. I shouldn't be able to build a website. I'm not a tech person.
Right.
I should let myself off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what was going on in my field. So in the midst of even like having this party here today with almost 100 people that are going to be in my home, I have had to please myself instead of wondering about what somebody else is going to think about walking in my home, and I didn't do this or I didn't do that.
And you're sitting here for the last hour talking to me. How beautiful is that?
This is how I allowed myself to do this with you.
I love that.
Is to let myself off the hook, because my happiness was much more important, and they ultimately don't care.
Yeah.
When they're coming in the door, they're not looking at my floor, they're looking at you. They're looking
right.
at... And so loving yourself and taking care of yourself is the thing that I absolutely have to do, or it will drain my energy.
Yes.
And that's what happened a lot in my...
It's easy to forget.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very, very true.
And the other question was, what I should let go of? Okay.
What are you gonna stop?
Must
Not do anymore.
Must not do anymore? Let my vibration get low.
Mm.
We'll stop with that one.
That's a great one. Yeah, I love that. Very good. Well, thank you again for again in this beautiful busy day also making this time for us. I really enjoyed the conversation with you. I am honored. I'm surprised you didn't make fun of my nail polish at all, even once.
I saw it and I liked it to begin with.
Well, I'm glad you liked it, but it wasn't by choice. So my daughter wanted it yesterday, and we go to a nail salon. She said, I want to have my nail done. I was like, all right, cool, let's go, baby. So I'm sitting down with this beautiful 7-year-old, and she's like, Daddy, I want to get gel. I'm like, all right, cool, what is gel? She's like, it lasts longer. I'm like, all right, cool. We get it. And she's like, you gotta get it too. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, what's your favorite color? I'm like, I like black. And she's like, well, you're gonna get gel nails. I'm like, no. Wow. She's like, oh, you said no, yes. I was like, yes, it is.
Wow.
So now I got this for the next few weeks. So
you gave your daughter a lot of control.
But you know what?
You say yes for 5 things.
But you know what's so funny? Yes, I know. At the same time, I'm like, you know what? If I was a kid hanging out with her, I mean, sometimes I see her. She does that with her little boyfriends that are there. Like they're like 5, 6. They're all hanging out, and you know, she does that with her girlfriends, but also the guy friends. And I'm like, when do we stop having fun? I'm like, you know what? Yeah. You got this beautiful daughter asking you that. Say yes to your inner child. Have fun with it. Who cares? You know. And again, washing all that everything that we got going on with the subconscious.
Soft too, by the way.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it.
Did she make you get a wax as well?
Well, I had to put it in the thing and all that. But no, I didn't get a wax. But next time I'll keep that in mind. Well, thank you again, Wendy. I really enjoyed the conversation. Any last word that is on your mind?
There is frequency in color.
Mm-hmm.
There's frequency in color. So I've lightened up a lot on my color situation. But let's say when you're wearing black, you're definitely going to absorb whatever energy is around you. And a lot of that's in clubs and different things. So the energy is quite entertaining at times.
I actually will keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I do like colors. Just for some reason, I don't know, the darker colors, I enjoy it. It absorbs more sunlight, I feel like.
It definitely absorbs a lot, including sunlight.
And I feel like I store it and I use it in a different cold day when I'm running in the mornings. It feels really good. But that's...
You're right on point. You're right on point.
Yeah.
Just literally. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. Everyone, if you ever needed a topic to be expanded more, I mean, we talked about several different things, and I'm probably gonna have to go through the video myself and expand on some of those in different episodes, because they're just hours of conversations on those. So feel free to drop me a line. Thank you again for watching this. And one more time, where can they find you?
For the technique, if you want to go through this, it's QHHT. Dolores Cannon, just put that in and the website will come up and you can find a practitioner in your zip code, and hopefully I'll be close to you and Or you can come out, make the drive, and come out and see the boat.
Yes, yes. Wendy, I love you. You are amazing. And again, I'm so blessed and grateful to have you in my life.
Likewise, me too.
Yes, thank you. All right, bye everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and join us next time. If you'd like to sit in as a guest to talk about your journey and share your success story on this program to inspire others, or perhaps need a little pick-me-up in the form of support and advice on how to overcome the life challenges you are facing now, drop us a line at brainwashedcreations.com. Let's connect and step into my world. Please share this with the special people in your life, and remember to smile big, love and laugh often, and surround yourself with those who uplift you constantly. Live your best lives, my friends, and keep on cleansing your mind and be conscious of your thoughts and your self-talk. Until next time, I wish you peace, love, and harmony.